What if the healing you've been searching for has been hiding in the weird? Taking the Weird Out of Woo is a new series that's on a mission to normalize non-traditional therapies and explore healing beyond the mainstream, one episode at a time. Each week, we bring together three powerful elements: a skeptic who's open but unsure, an expert who's lived and studied the method, and a real experience that just might change everything. From sound healing to breathwork, energy medicine, and beyond, we're diving into the woo with curiosity, compassion, and a willingness to ask, could this actually help? This isn't just entertainment, it's an invitation to feel, to heal, and to explore what's possible when nothing else has worked. Welcome to Taking the Weird Out of Woo. Let's heal together. From the moment that you walked in the room, Paul, and I'll be introducing both you and Ellie here in just a moment, there's something very uniquely grounding and safe with your energy. You walk in a room, you pick up on subtle things that I've never seen anybody else be able to do in such a quick manner. And then you go right in and say, hey, why don't we address this right now? Let's not wait. It's just such a safe, masculine space. And I don't know if us females have had a ton of experience with that. I know for myself, I've had some, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful experience when I do. But I jokingly called you over the phone when I was talking to you about this experience as Thor. But I really feel like you kind of really do have that Avenger type. I'm going to go in and help slay your demons, and here's my hammer. You know, I feel like you have that safe presence, which I feel is going to make this particular episode just absolutely transformational, just right out of the gate. So thank you so much, Paul, for being on the show. And I would just love for you to share anything that you'd like to, whether it's about yourself or your experience, your journey. Like, how did you get to this point where you can just command a room with this safety that we're all looking for? Every single person on this planet is looking for safety.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I really appreciate the very kind words. It's still to this day, and somewhat intentionally, is interesting for me to receive feedback like that, to feel the compliments in those regards. I have been a walking contradiction in many ways for a long time. And I guess I think that's lend itself to being able to be in tune, considering that's the human experience, is we are massive contradictions. We are both being and becoming simultaneously, and that is messy and difficult. It's like having a left foot that's trying to go the opposite direction of the right foot in a lot of cases. And so for me, I've been obsessed with the human experience for a long, long time. There were things that I didn't know other people didn't do. I remember sneaking out in the middle of the night with my best friend. She lived down the street from me when we were, I think, like 11 or 12, 13 maybe. And we'd go to the park and just lay on the swing sets or whatever and look at the stars. And we'd ask ourselves questions about the meaning of the universe or why our parents do certain things. And just, I was very fortunate. She had some challenging circumstances that I couldn't relate to in the home, but I got to kind of borrow from the depth that started creating for her at a young age. And we got to meet and see each other and hold space for each other very early on. And I just knew that that's something, I wanted something like that in my life.
Wow.
Then that led to theater, which kind of saved my life. Because at the time, my insecurities were disabling. I was very awkward. Had a lot of really interesting personality quirks and stuff, but always tried to present in a certain way. And the only difference between that time and now is just I know that doesn't go away, and I'm okay with it. I tried to pretend it wasn't there for a number of years as a big, high-powered business coach, and it's not to say that there weren't amazing things happening during that time, but it was really getting in touch with the contradiction of the way I present physically and the way I feel internally, and not needing those to be in competition with each other or against each other, any kind of war. They've turned out to be quite complementary, where I don't need to walk into a room and be like, I promise I'm not a big jock. Like I'm not a, but also not needing to be worried about noticing some things and feeling some things. Those kinds of impressions are immediately met in me with who are you to feel that stuff? Like what? Like but I love that for a couple of reasons. One is it disarms this idea that I'm figuring somebody out, because I get really sensitive to that, because I can feel it when someone is trying to figure me out, even when especially when they're trying to be helpful. And so just that check engine to step in and be like, okay, I'm noticing some things, I'm feeling some things, but I'd like to deliver these with the energy of my insecurity, not as the authority. Like I'm getting something for you, or I have something you don't have. It allows the package to be delivered as, hey, this might be a reflection. It might not. More often than not, it tends to be pretty helpful. But I think that those elements allow me to not get caught up in my own idea of expertise. As much as I just think it's really fun to just pay attention and ask to see if what I'm paying attention to is helpful to other people, not because it's some magnificent, powerful gift that I have that other people don't. Because one of my other favorite things is teaching people how to do that. So
I love that. I thank you for being so honest with this internal dialogue that you have, because we all have it. There's not one person that I am aware of that doesn't have self-deprecating thoughts or questioning. But what I heard from you is, first of all, I think it's so funny. I was thinking he's out there observing the meaning of life while I'm out toilet papering with my friends. I'm like, oh, well, there you have it. A little bit behind the bar there.
I wasn't immune from dumb shit. Let's make that really clear. I don't want to paint this picture that like I was like some philosophical Picasso all day, every day. Like, no.
No.
I think there was something about late in the middle of the night when the world was asleep that felt like
totally
that could be available.
I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I'm hearing is that your safety came through finally accepting both of those sides, right? Everything, the whole package, the physicality, the internal dialogue. And I really feel as a collective, that's kind of where we're going is can we accept every part of ourselves? Can we accept all the emotions? And that's what I watched you do today with Ellie, was really getting her to a place where she could really be real with herself and be real with her emotions and feel safe in those emotions. And we're going to be doing some things with breath and the power of breath. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But before I do, Ellie, you just brighten every single room up. So I just, from the moment that I met you, it was just like, you're just effervescent. That is the best descriptive word, I think, is just this overflowing with all the emotions, whether it's joy and love and laughter. Y'all are going to see some tears today. I just want you to know. It's just what it is.
We're prepared, though.
Right?
We're prepared.
But there's also this laughter and this play and this spontaneity. And I've just come to absolutely adore you like a sister. And so when I was thinking about this episode and the power of breath, and I knew, we played in Italy for a good week, girlfriend.
So much fun.
So I know a lot about you. And it was just immediate. Call Ellie, see if she's interested in this. And you've even gone through a process getting here you've been very introspective, very deliberate with what you wanted to bring here. So just love that you're here. Thank you so much. And, besides what I just shared, what do you want to share about yourself?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love how you both have kind of talked a little bit about the duality and like the highs and the lows. And like that's so me. It's finding like this balance between I have the high highs and the low lows. And I always used to think it was like something wrong or that my range of feeling was too much for the world. And even at one point I was like, am I bipolar? Like, what is going on? Like, I'm going to the doctor. Am I bipolar? And they're like, she's like, asking me questions. She's like, no, you're not. This is normal. I'm like, okay, good to know. But yeah, definitely I have found this beautiful balance between finding the highs and finding the lows and just living in it and being it and the peace in it. And it's like been a really beautiful experience to accept that and expand in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got a pretty regular life. Like if you look on the outside, you know, the roles, share the roles that you have in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of those things
Wife,
that you do?
Mom of 4. I have teenagers from 9 to 15 years old, and work, you know. I've worked in schools and kind of all over the place, and now I just quit all my jobs and I'm following my passion, and so I'm really excited for that. It's been a really cool experience, but I mean, I'm a soccer mom. Like, I have 2 boys in comp soccer, and we are soccer all week. And when I pick up my groceries, I'm like, you can't put anything in the back. I'm a soccer mom. I've got the tent in there, the chairs, the blankets, like, you know, all the things you would need that year round. We play year round. And so just...
That's so great.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, one of the things I love and appreciate about you is the depth of your vulnerability, your transparency, and the fact that we can all relate to your emotions. And you feel things so deeply. And you even see it on your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Very
your whole
expressive.
body. Like you know what you're feeling and you're experiencing, and it's really fun to watch. And it's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to be talking about the power of breath. And I don't think that there is another thing that is, in my opinion, more powerful than breath. And I know, Paul, this isn't just your only thing that you guide individuals through, but it's something that you have found incredible value with as you're guiding people back to their wholeness, back to themselves, feeling safe to be here in that duality. And so talk to us about breath.
Sure. I've been lucky enough to spend some time with some amazing people that have studied breath work and are much more knowledgeable with the history of it and all the, I mean, saying, have you ever done breath work is like asking someone, have you ever done yoga? There's so many different versions and iterations and nuances. And I try to not be any kind of gatekeeper to it for sure. I don't feel qualified to do that. And I'm not a big fan of anyone who does that in just about anything anyway. But a big, huge part of any of the work that I do with someone is presence. And presence isn't a practice. Like it's something you fall into. It's something that finds you. But I found that breath is one of the best ways to allow it to find you. One of the best ways to be able to dissolve some of the attachments that may make it a little bit more difficult to get to that, as well as some of the things that you find in presence that can be difficult to hold in the sensations of the body, and whether that's trauma or shame or attachment wounds, breath can be really helpful for moving that energy if it's been kind of stuck or frozen in the system. But it's the thing we can live the least amount of time without. And so I think that probably qualifies it as pretty top of the list in terms of some of my favorite things for it are finding it. I think that's a really beautiful thing when you consider how to find your breath, not change it or alter it, but at any moment, just find your breath. Like, where is it? What if you were curious about what your breath was doing right now, and if it could have a conversation with you based on what it's doing right now, what would you understand? What would you learn about where some of the parts are in you that you may not be as aware of, or what guidance could it provide? So finding your breath is really good. Feeding your breath, like feeding your body, your breath is, we learn all kinds of stuff about what we should eat when we're growing up, and then we become even more obsessive about it as adults. But like we never really learn how to feed ourselves oxygen, like how that's really done to get to more parts of the body, both to upregulate and get us ready to perform, and both to downregulate and get us ready to just surrender and release and relax. And we'll do both today. We'll do both.
That's beautiful. And I do know that I've heard and been taught that for the mass majority of individuals, especially in the Western world, that we're very shallow breathers, and that adds to that anxiety that like it's basically telling our body we're in fight and flight, right? So the slower we breathe, and if the researchers have studied animals, the ones that breathe the slowest live the longest, right? So I just think it's so fascinating that we can do so many different things with breath. And like you said, there's so many, yoga has hundreds, thousands of different styles, and so is breath. So today, talk to us about the breath and the power of the breath that you're going to be guiding today with.
Yeah, so the breath we're going to use today is primarily built for access. Like that's what we want to do. We want to see if we use the breath in a really particular way, what parts of ourselves can we access that may not have been as available or as clear when we access them in the state that we'll be in after the breathing that we're going to do. What energy might be in there that hasn't been safe to really feel. Breath can be unbelievably powerful for doing this, but also like you want to be really sensitive to that too, because it's not hard to use breath to like get in a 3-point stance and blast through a wall of your emotional elements, or even to get to run into your trauma and stir it up like a beehive. And then the healing you get from that breath work is just getting the bees to calm down inside of yourself, not actually making some progress with it or a release. That's
Just
a very
feeling
common
it.
thing. You just get really activated,
Yeah.
but then you breathe in a way that calms that down. You're like, wow, that was amazing. Which is like going into your bathroom
Yeah.
and making a big mess and then cleaning it up and being like, oh, this feels so much better. Well, it's very similar to how it was when you first walked in before you made the mess. So we want to be really conscious with the breath we're going to be doing today that we're finding edges. We're not blasting through them. So when you find an edge, you want to slow down. It's not something to power through, because breath gets you really deep into your system. And the deeper you go, the more non-dual it becomes. And so the idea of fixing or getting to the other side of something or anything dualistic like that, even with the best packaged intentions, is offensive to the non-dual space, just in the sense that it doesn't fit. That it's not something you can get traction with the deeper you go inside of yourself. The deeper you go inside of yourself, the more important it is to be able to go slow enough to just witness.
And like feel the feels?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
You're not diving into anything. Okay. It's like we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
We're just noticing what's actually already here.
Okay.
The idea of going deep is a mental thing. Like, I'm going to go deep. But like the body, there is no depth. It's totally present. It's all right here. But the mind is everywhere but present.
Yes.
And that's the challenge, is we're living in a thinker brain, neocortex dominant society.
Yeah.
Which is no wonder we shaped it that way, because we thought the neocortex, we thought the brain was the command center. We thought like, oh, it's in charge. We need to, mindset is all about your thoughts and controlling your thoughts. If you can control your thoughts, you can control your life, and all these things that are really funny, like made up constructs within the matrix of the mind.
Yeah.
And the body's just sitting over here totally present, okay, omnipresent, if you will. And not understanding why the brain's trying to overreach and do something and feel things when it can't feel. Like the brain literally can't feel. You open up for brain surgery, they don't have to numb your brain to take a tumor out. It can't feel.
I didn't know that
I
either.
didn't know that. Okay.
And so it's interesting that that's what we've been taught to rely on for the feelings, but it makes sense in that it has a pharmacy. Your brain has a pharmacy, and it can order scripts of different chemicals, different stimulants,
hormones,
all the things that
yeah.
it can release to create a more real interpretation of what it thinks you're feeling. So for a lot of us, we feel something in the body, and the mind goes, oh, what is that? I need to diagnose that. I need to figure out what that is. Is it good? Is it bad? And then it will release chemicals to support or to attack or whatever, or to convince of those things. And the challenge is then we don't ever get a chance to actually feel it. We're feeling our brain's reaction to it. We're not actually feeling the sensations. And in breath work, we kind of take that off the table. And sometimes it can be really intense. When you've gotten used to thinking that what you're feeling is your feelings, your actual sensations, but it's actually your brain's reactions to those, it can be intense to actually feel what's in there. So that's why we want to find the edges and go slow. Breath is very potent. It's very potent. And so we want to use it to support us, not just to get on a linear track of, I can't wait till I get to the other side of this healing, when in fact, we were talking earlier, like the big joke of healing is that when you actually land in what you thought being healed would be like, It's when you're able to let go of the idea that there was nothing to heal in the first place. But there may have been energy in there to release. Like we're atomic creatures. We're made of atoms, and atoms have an unbelievable amount of energy packed in them. If we took a few atoms from the tip of your finger and spontaneously released them, it would level the city that we're in right now. Just unbelievable power. And our body seemingly knows how to tap into that energy when it thinks that the human animal's life is threatened, like something could hurt us or kill us. And so it extracts some of that energy. We get very activated. Okay, there are other chemicals to support this, and that's so that we can use that unbelievable amount of energy to fight something or run away, punch it in the face or run away, or freeze, which is not actually a survival response. It's a delay of survival responses.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So in less than a third of a second, your body figures out whether it should fight or run away. And if it can't do that, it freezes it to see if an opportunity to fight or run away will come along shortly after. If it doesn't, that energy gets stuck in certain ways, gets frozen in the system. And for a lot of people, depending on how you want to look at it in kinesiology and neurology, it's primarily going to be in the hips and the pelvic region and in the shoulders, which are the two of the biggest joints in the body. That's both where it gets activated and where it gets trapped and stuck for a lot of people, is in the center gut pelvic region and in the shoulders are some of the most common areas that you might experience that. And so what we want to do is we want to use breath to go back in and get the brain trying to figure it out, trying to make it happen from this perch that it's not present, it's not in the body, and allow the brain to just go back into an imagination state. And so I'll use certain things to draw its attention, and the breath will eventually get it to be a lot quieter. About 11, 12 minutes into it, the brain kind of goes not totally offline, but it like if it was playing in the game, it sits on the bench. And at that point, then we get to start noticing what's here and start seeing things we wouldn't have seen otherwise because we're not as distracted by what the brain is doing. And that's where we want to go really slow. Where this idea of like, I need to go dive in and feel this is the mind trying to get to the other side of it, trying to fix it, trying to get across the finish line of healing. When in fact, the healing we're looking for is a more full present experience of the journey, not this finish line that has been used to oftentimes for a lot of us justify self-abandonment. Like, oh, it's okay to abandon myself because eventually I'll get across the line and myself will be there to greet me. And it never comes. So we want to use breath to see if we can diffuse some of these constructs, diffuse some of these things and feel into this. And also to remember that it's all made up, everything. It all is.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to be walking you through today is made up. What you think you're feeling and going through is made up. And that doesn't make it not important. That doesn't make it irrelevant. That doesn't make what we're doing not sacred or sincere. It's just really important to remember that along the way, because we have a tendency to trance ourselves into stuff like this. And it needs to be a big experience because what I'm feeling is big. And that just loops the trauma.
I'm just looking over. Did you kind of grandize this experience, or did I? So it's really fun to watch humans. Okay, it just is. Because especially our thinking brain that starts to spin a story of what it could look.
I want to say I'm totally seeing the superhero vibes now. For sure.
Okay.
For sure. Like superhero
We could either give him a
vibes.
cape or a hammer
Both.
or something.
Both. He needs both.
Okay, all right.
Because Thor wears
I'm
both.
Scandinavian, so we'll take the hammer.
We'll take the hammer.
We'll take the
Okay, sounds
hammer.
good.
Oh, so yes, first I'm seeing that. And I feel like there were so many moments where you just like blew my mind with things like feeding the breath. I was like, I never thought of that before. I loved that. And I love how you talked about like not like plowing through it, because that is so my personality. I'm like, we're just going to get this through. We're going to plow through it. So I like really appreciate, I think that was very intuitive, the disclaimer of that, because that's like, just plow through it. Let's do it. Let's just do life, do the thing, and go for it, and then just be done and like move on. And to answer your like question, like totally, I was like, oh my golly, I'm gonna be like a new woman after today. Like I totally thought that, you know, I was like having those grandiose thoughts of like, oh, it's gonna be life changing, and I'm gonna be new and free, and you know. So yeah, I totally did that.
Yeah.
Had that.
So let's go there.
Mm-hmm.
You have some intentions.
Yes.
You've been very, very deliberate with your experience today, which I actually think is very powerful. And Paul can speak to that if he wants to. Talk to us about why you're here.
Yeah. Can I take a minute just to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm here today to share my story,
Yeah.
to share me, and to be real. I really felt that at first this was just going to be like a fun experience. I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. Wendy and I have played. We're going to play. It's going to be so much fun, and it's going to be amazing. And that was that. And then I had a night where I woke up in like an absolute panic. And it was like I've named different parts of my body, and the part of my body and the part of me that talks to me is like, baby girl, baby girl. It's like, no, that's not how it's going to be that. It's going to be that. But it's also going to be you working through trauma and working through
So what is on the other side?
the first thing that comes to mind is like, I see me. I see me. Yeah. I love how you're talking your concept of healing. And it's like, it's really just like breaking down all the other things so that I can just see me and who I am and just accept me and be with me.
Yeah.
How will you feel?
Happy, joy, peace, fun,
Yeah.
playful.
Mm-hmm. Who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who I am.
So Paul, she came here with those intentions.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
The thought that was coming to me in this moment, I get the pleasure and honor of mentoring coaches to help them do it differently. They don't, the niches, the funnels, all the shit that I never wanted to do, but I was told was a means to an end. Trying to show them that it's different. And one of the things that as you were talking, that as an analogy, is sharing with them, like, it's a little anticlimactic when you get to where I'm at when I'm talking to these coaches. Like when they get to the point that they're generating the income that I get the honor and the pleasure of getting to enjoy, and the people that I get to work with, the caliber of people that I get to work with, and different things. I'd share with them, it's a little anticlimactic when you get here, because one of the biggest differences between you and me is I know that the shit swirling around in your head and the stories you're telling yourself and the things that you're feeling never go away. But like, I've like found how to play with it. I've found how to do it differently rather than keep waiting for it to go away.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that like wanted to say that to you, like at the end of this breathwork experience, I hope it's really anticlimactic. Like, I hope it's like, oh my gosh, I felt so much in there. I released so many things, which is performative at best. But it's an important thing to experience, because if at the end of this you can land and be like, it didn't make a difference, some part of you goes, maybe that's the point. Maybe the difference I've been waiting for, maybe the healing is to actually let go of the waiting for it and be like, oh, like I'm good. Like the stories, like I'm going to use. They're saying peace, but what they're expressing is they want relief. And too often, what we're heading towards unknowingly in that equation is numb. We actually just don't want to feel anything.
Yeah.
So that gets peace and relief really confusing. Whereas like relief, when you land in relief, you don't want to do anything. Like you're just like,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is a
Totally.
beautiful thing.
Totally. I'm like, nothing.
Beautiful thing. I'm
Yes.
not here to downside
Yes.
relief.
Yeah.
However, the frustration, the suffering comes from when we think we're landing in peace and we're landing in relief. We're just like, oh, this is so nice. But more often than not, that's okay. I've been punching you in the stomach all day, and now I'm flicking you in the ear, and you're like,
And
oh,
you
that's
get relief
so
from
much
that.
better.
Yeah.
Whereas peace is actually a very proactive. It's a very engaged feeling. You want to do things, but you want to do them with all of you. Okay, like you have a big personality, very bubbly. Like I ran into that full force
Right away.
as I walked in. That's real.
There's
That's-
Ellie.
Yeah.
That's real. The magnitude of that, the beauty in that is so real. The speed at which it jumps out in front of you, that's trauma. Because the stuff that we use to cope, why wouldn't it use our gifts? Why wouldn't it use our greatest strengths? And that doesn't make it bad.
Yes.
It just often increases the speed and increases the intensity. So it's not who you are,
Yes.
but it is running out in front of you as a protection. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the challenge with that is not you're being fake or anything. Speed and intensity are not different from unauthentic. Okay, it's really it's using beautiful things about you. The challenge with the protection piece is you don't get the rejuvenation of being you in this moment because the you that you're being is running out in front of you. So that's yeah. So the breath can be intense.
I need to breathe.
Can be powerful. Yeah. Yeah. It's an opportunity to like, oh, okay, what I've been pursuing, the loop of healing that most people run into is that the energy of pursuit is the opposite of healing. Pursuit is the fight or flight response. We're running away from what happened to us. We're running to what it could be like once we get away from it. That's the anticlimactic that I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Is when it's like, oh, what if I just landed?
Yeah.
What if I just landed? And being very compassionate and very kind to what you thought was what happened to you needed to be healed. But the parts of you that thought that the pursuit was what was needed, and how devastated or disappointed or scared they will be when they start to realize that landing is what you wanted to do in the first place. It kind of inverts the healing. Like, oh, I thought I was healing the parts of me that were assaulted. I thought I was healing these stories. Wow, I'm actually showing a lot of compassion and not trying to fix this anymore. And the healing that we actually experience is calming down the parts of us that had really good intentions, but weren't allowing us to just land, weren't allowing us to just be in who we are right now. Because, I mean, that's the ultimate, Ellie. Like, you exist. Yeah. I couldn't teach or give you anything or provide an experience that could be any better than that. Period. Everything else is subtext. So when we land in that, when we actually land, rather than heal or pursue or release or all these things,
go.
We do all those things because some part of our brain needs to check all the boxes before it finally goes, I checked all the boxes and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we go, oh wait, what if that was the point? What if it not working was actually...
There's a reason it's not working. Yeah.
And breathwork seems to be a really cool way to help people have that experience in an acute, kind of magnified way. And so you'll get access to some things. But again, I hope you walk away going, oh, I don't need to. Yeah. Like, I can exist. And there's nothing that demonstrates how loved, how worthy, how amazing you are than the fact that you exist. Period. You couldn't accomplish anything that would be more important than existing. You couldn't mess anything up that would take away from the value, the pricelessness of existing. And so one of the places you'll land towards the end of this breath work is in a place when some of the waves move and some of the stuff. I promise you, you'll land in a place where you just exist. And if you just get to hang out there, get a little taste of that, that's the proximity that we want to play in. Okay? The further we are from that proximity, the more the treasure map, X marks the spot, can draw us to it. But once you get to the island, the X disappears because it just wanted you to be close. It just wanted you to be close to you, not perfect. Present is not perfect. Okay? And the fact that the top of the list is you exist, and yet we're chasing and doing all these things to try and earn that, to try and make it better. That's impossible. You couldn't do anything or let go of anything or accomplish anything to make your existence better. Because just existing is as good as it gets. That's very threatening to the ego. That's very for a little while. Familiar with the dimensions, just become very clear about the space of the room. I want you to take a big deep breath in and notice how you take up more space in the room, and then you give it back. And then land on the bottom for just a moment and feel that. And now take a breath in and notice you take more space in the room, and then you give it back. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so important. I just know that it is. At least for me and for a lot of the people that I work with. And I just know that when we tune into things like that, all that stuff it's cool. Oh, I take up more space. Well, technically you don't because you just brought air in and you didn't actually expand your atomic makeup. Well, that wasn't the point. The point was you were more present in that moment than you were when we met this morning. That's what breath is so cool about, is it teaches you something and you can work with it and collaborate with it. It doesn't need you to work, like your digestive system. Breath work and healing and things like this, like it's like your digestive system. You can do things to mess it up, but it works whether you do anything or not. And very similar to healing and things like that with your digestive system, no matter how clean you eat, you still have shit to get out. So it's not about checking off. It's not about checking off the inventory of what you've gone through. It's about landing in you and that being safe, like having the regulation to stay there. Because once you can, that's the only place you experience life. And that's the only place you can create more. The challenge is most of us are pursuing more, which comes at the expense of what is.
Yeah.
And we are and are becoming, and we have very particular systems in our body that are going to protect both. And if we don't bring both along, then we'll create a war inside of ourselves, and that's where a lot of people are living.
So beautiful. I really feel like breath can be our greatest teacher, right? And on a physiological, biological level, we do know that it impacts our chemistry, right? We can speed things up, we can slow things down. So it's an incredible tool. You get to experience this for your own self. And I love what I've heard just resonating within this conversation is there's nothing to fix. There's nothing to solve. There's no strategy. There's no solution. There's pure acceptance. There's pure now. There's pure presence. And that is perhaps maybe one of the beautiful lessons that you get to experience today is that maybe we'll have a different perception of trauma when you're done. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen, but it sure is going to be fun to watch. It sure is fun to be curious. And I'm going to get my own experience. So I'm going to be right there with you, sister. So why don't we go ahead and go have the experience? Are you ready?
I'm ready.